Going live? Live?
Live.
Hi!
Hello.
Let's see, is there anyone there? Good afternoon. Back in KL. We are not sure whether the line here is stable. It's Wednesday and I'm supposed to go live tonight, but I don't think we can go live tonight. Alright? Because we are probably not in KL. Of course, we are taking a short escapade, It's not really a holiday. I don't think so, because we've been working, alright? We've just finished our function, right? Gong Yu has been working since morning, alright? A lot of date selection stuff for him to prepare. And we thought that now we are chillaxing by the beach side, okay? Then I'll just do a live Q&A because it's Wednesday and I really do not want to miss the time and the session, okay, with all of you. So might as well, I thought just do a Q&A. If you have any questions, okay, regarding feng shui, Chinese astrology, whatever it is, right, please just ask away. Okay, anyone there watching this? Like, I can't really see.
Yeah, we're squinting a little bit because the sun is in our face.
Okay, because it's like very, very sunny and very bright here. June Isabel, hello. Okay, June is from KK. Right, I mean, it's so nice.
Hi, Grace.
It's so nice to see all of you. Hi, Grace. Yeah, Grace Chia, right? Hello, thanks for tuning in. Right, nothing much. I mean, no specific topic for today. It's just a Q&A session. Hi, Dixon. Hello, thanks for the heart and the love. Right, good afternoon, Jessie and Gong Yu. Hi, Bun Leong. Hi, Mr. Lee.
Right.
Yeah, we are planning. We are really talking about, okay, next destination, it has got to be Singapore. Right, right, nice, peaceful. Yeah, the environment here is very, very nice. We are currently at Bangkok. Okay, we are currently at Bangkok, so it's very nice here. I'm not sure whether you can hear us because we were told that the waves are pretty loud. And those of you who follow my experiential workshop, okay, meditation workshop, this is the real stuff. This is a real wave, right? So occasionally it is good for us to indulge ourselves, okay, in environment where you have the nature, in a way, like submerging ourselves into the sound of the nature. Like, it's really, really good here. Alright,
Right.
so who's
Good
that
afternoon,
new?
Lai Ping.
Lai Ping. Hi,
Jennifer.
Jennifer.
Good
Hi.
afternoon. Thanks for the little shout outs. Diana, Kent as well says hello. Good
Can you
afternoon.
flip the camera in case those of you who are not
Okay.
from Malaysia and you're wondering what Pangko is? We are currently in Pulau Pangko, one of the boutique resort over here. So if you can flip the camera, is it possible we try that and see?
Hi, Lynn
Yeah.
from San Francisco. So here's a little bit of Malaysia.
Yeah, this is exactly what we are facing. For the past many hours we've been here contemplating, looking at the nature, alright, thinking about like more contents and looking into more things to be able to share with more of you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hi
okay.
to Sering.
You can hear the waves here.
Hi,
I am
Saman.
sharing with you. This is the real stuff. This is the real wave. Yeah, alright. So do at least at times remember to take a break of our life, okay? And I mean, to me, I think from you and I, okay, in a way realize that how grateful we are, okay? In fact, I'm sure that all of you are grateful that we are all alive. We are all alive to witness all this, like, very, very amazing nature that's surrounding us.
Absolutely, absolutely. I've been here in so many years, about 20 years, right? So I actually feel that it's nicer than I remember. As in, Pangko Lawat is nicer than I remember it from 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Lovely, lovely sea breeze over here,
Yeah.
and it's not overcrowded, so it's nice. Yeah. I think we have to flip back. Let them
Okay,
see.
all
Sorry,
right,
guys.
okay.
Okay. We have to take away your beautiful view of
Yeah.
the ocean. All right. So you have to bear with us. You
Don't
have
know
to take a look.
I wonder if May we misses this type of scenery.
All right. So it's a Q&A session. All right. So any of you has any questions that you want to ask? Right. We are already in March. Yeah, we are already in March, right? Things passes by very quickly. It's very fast. So who's that? Mulyadi. Jessie, can you ask the staff to check on the replay for wealth session? Does it work? Oh, it doesn't work for you. Okay, just a quick check, Mulyadi. Are you based in Indonesia? Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think like the platform that we use for the replay itself somehow has issued for replays in Indonesia. So Mulyadi will let us know. But no doubt, I will highlight to the staff and see how we can actually host, okay, the whole replay session itself. And yeah, somehow we will ensure that we will get it done for you and so that you can actually see the replay. Yep, we are at Bangkok Laut like
right.
now,
Yeah,
currently.
maybe it says she'll be back in Malaysia in July.
Alright, good. That's great.
Yeah.
July is part of the summer holiday as well.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's good. But Melfi, she is in UK, right?
She's in the US, I believe. Right?
Oh, US? Oh,
Yeah.
I always thought that she's in UK. Alright, so any questions there? Right, it's going to be a
Hi,
short
Eileen.
session today.
Yep.
Hi, Eileen.
Ask
Hello. Okay. Yeah, ask away. Questions. Come on.
Open
Free.
session today is a Q&A that Jessie suggested
Yeah.
to do. So
So that I still
Alright.
do a Facebook Live on
Okay, here's one.
Wednesday. Adi was like, sorry, we have to keep on
the
this
year has no metal and
Uh,
fire in the annual party.
Okay.
But we have war in Europe.
Alright, okay. Now the year has fire. Okay, I wouldn't agree if you say that the year do not have fire. Now the year do not have metal, but it does have fire because this year's party chart itself you see that the most prominent element is actually water. Okay, and then after that it is wood. Alright, okay. It is wood and water which is like very prominent, and the third strongest element then it will follow by fire. Okay, metal is totally absent in the whole entire chart itself. Now, for those of you who actually follow our sessions, right, you know that metal is talking about control, discipline. It's talking about like actions, like something that's within control. Right, metal is all about control. That's why if those of you who actually listen to some of my sharings regarding the economy, the stocks and other things, right, you will see that this year itself, the chances of people suffering, I mean, let's put the word suffering out, it's not actually suffering, but impacted, okay, by the lack of metal means that people are losing control of things. People have no choice, in a way, okay, they feel that there are certain rules and regulations will be imparted, certain things that other people make the choice and we have to bear the consequences. And remember that I mentioned about like the inflation rate, we talk about the interest rate hike as well. Because if like any authority that decided okay, to hike on the interest rate, okay, it is something that puts us in a limbo. It's something that puts us in a position that we cannot control over it. So lacking of metal just means that the chances of like people losing, in a way, control over the things that of course they would like to. So you see that this is one of it, right? And that's why you say that it's like if overall you can see it reflected in the whole entire chart, it needs to be something drastic, historical. Now I know now that the war is taking place between Russia and Ukraine, but the thing is, it is not something that is in a way impacting up to World War III. We've talked this over the Telegram, right? Telegram Live, I have a sharing sessions regarding this, and we mentioned that people are concerned whether it will lead to World War III or not. But based on this year's chart, you see that there's lacking of fire, lacking, not totally non-existent, right? And also in a way of metal. And then majority of the elements is water. So what we expect is more Cold War, all these sanctions that's going on, all these things as in like, I'm trying to, in a way, torture you through like boycotting you. That's all. There's a Cold War that's going on. So it wouldn't really, I mean, from the chart, I don't see it really leading to a possibilities of a World War III. Because if there's any possibilities of World War III, you need to have majority of the presence of metal and fire. It means the whole entire chart itself will be explosive. But this particular year itself, the chart is not explosive. So yes, you have the war which is going on. But to be honest, war has been going on in a few countries in a year. All through, okay, this now. So it's not something as in like impacting the whole entire like world itself. Okay, so that's not counted. Yeah, okay, somehow it's impacting those of you who are following my Telegram live, okay? If you have not followed me on Telegram, please do so. We talk about it is like how it actually impacted Ukraine and Russia because their whole entire chart are in a way comprising also of course, monkey and also tiger, and it all started on a tiger month on a monkey day.
Yep.
Alright.
So you can check that out. The full explanation is there.
Yeah, I'm testing Hongmu's eyesight here because
Period.
he's supposed to be on the lookout for the questions.
Jennifer Kapuyan has question right.
Yeah.
Period 9 is fire element. Are metal people weak for this period? So
Okay,
that this
not
one-
necessarily.
Yeah.
A period itself, right? Okay, for any 20 years, the period itself means that there's certain element, okay, which is heightened. But doesn't mean that if your chart itself, you're a metal person, you will naturally become weak.
Yeah.
But you see, now if you really pay observations to any part of chart, for those of you who are part of enthusiasts there, right? Okay. Now, in the Pacha chart, we do have this segment that's called the regulating risk regard. Now, what's the purpose of having this regulating useful God? You see, I'm sure some of you here who are Bazi practitioners, you know what useful God is. Useful God is one of the elements that brings it's like the one stone kills many, many great things. It's like one of the most important elements in your chart that somehow facilitate the whole flow of the chart itself. That is preferred to use it. The more you use it, the better your life will be. Now, regulating useful God, it means that in different periods of your life itself, we need to use this set of different elements for us to balance. It's like a balancing factor to our chart. Alright? So you see, every time for all human beings, you see, we cannot stay fixated, even though we are born as a metal element person. But you know that in our chart itself, we have these favorable elements or non-favorable elements. Doesn't mean your metal means that you will definitely have fire stronger. Because a lot of metal love fire. Right? If you are a particle, you know. But metal needs the fire to be forged and then to be better. So you see, there are a lot of metal elements that loves fire. In fact, if you look at the overall elements of the law shu, okay, right, in terms of feng shui, fire and water elements are the must-have element. That's why if you look at the law shu chart, you have the star number 1 to 9. You only have 1 star 1 and 1 star 9. The rest of those 6 and 7 are metal, okay, 3 and 4 are wood, and then you have 2, 5 and 8, those are all earth. So the rest of the elements you have spares, you have extras, but water and fire are the ultimate elements that everyone needs. You don't have spares, you don't have extras. It is something that in a way represents life itself. Right? We need the water, we need the fire. Right? Somehow, in a way that we might not need that earth or metal as much, because it's like they have a lot of different elements for us to play with. But fire and water is the ultimate one. So when it comes to a fire period, in period 9 itself, okay, everyone needs fire, regardless whether you're strong or weak. In fact, from a Bazi chart perspective, right, you're strong or weak is just in a way for us to identify on a preliminary time, all right, for us to understand as what we can learn first to grasp hold of our life. Okay, if we're weak, then we want certain elements so that we learn those things first in order for us to progress, to be stronger, and ultimately, in a way, master everything, the entire thing in the whole chart. It doesn't mean that if you're weak, you forever use these few elements in our life. The ultimate people who make it in life, like those super successful, those super in a way that the top 1% in the world itself, they can use every element in the whole chart because they have mastered it. And this is what all the ascended masters have as well. Okay? So the thing is, when we only prefer or favor certain elements, that's our first step to success. The first step. So when we master this, eventually we need to master everything else. So don't worry, even though period 9 when fire is strong, okay, there are a lot of regulating things that we have to work on. Yep. There are a lot of balancing things that we have to work on. That's also the reason why we have workshops, okay, in a way preparing ourselves to get ready for period 9. I know many of you have signed up, alright? I think for that workshop itself, we have at least nearly 180 people that have signed up. Right? And these workshops are exactly the things to get ourselves prepared. With external wise, in the world, the energy is changing. So how can we regulate those changes? How can we prepare ourselves? Alright? How to prepare ourselves in order for us to adapt to those changes. And these are the importance of astrology. Right? So I hope whoever that asked the questions, oh my god, I'm so sorry. It's here when it comes to talking. Right?
It was Jennifer Tokuyan.
Yeah, alright. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the question. I think it's it's very valid question. I'm sure a lot of people are concerned about this, especially when you know a bit of astrology. People often talk about if I'm weak, I need certain elements, okay? Or some of us probably fire is non-favorable elements, and suddenly it becomes so strong. What is going to happen next? Don't worry, okay? Because in Chinese astrology, you have to learn how to regulate everything in different times and in different scenarios.
Yes, and also because from a personal application perspective, right, you cannot directly correlate the fire of period 9 to your personal Bazi chart. Because normally we would always have to examine it from the Bazi astrology side for the direct correlation of fire and the effect to a personal chart. Instead of taking a period, because the two systems are actually different as well.
It's true, because it's one, it's like heaven, earth and man are 3 different components, okay? So we have to in a way study the heavens like date selections, planetary alignment, okay? Different years, different stars, different energy, how is it going to impact, okay, on earth itself. That's one equations, one part of the equation. And then we have to study about the earth, the environment, the feng shui, right? How is it going to impact the economy, how is it going to impact like people on earth, how is it going to impact the society, the beliefs, okay, the emotions of people in the world. That is another studies that we have to look into. And of course, at the end, the last, which is also the most important, is the human part of it. Okay, what we as human beings on earth here is that what we are supposed to do if we know that this changes is happening, if we know that the energy is transiting in such a way. What are the strategies? What are the things that we need to do in order for us to blend in or adapt and maximize our potential in this particular change? Yeah.
Okay, Canon has this one. Is resetting happening in this year or over these years to 2024?
Actually,
so, in fact, this one actually, our reset started right prior to 2020.
Yeah.
Right, as early as the second half of 2019, and 2020 being Gengzi was already one key transition point.
Yes, alright.
Right, and then we also had, of course, after that, another major transition point at the end of 2020. This was the great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn, right? And then, of course, we all know that the Chinese Metaphysics Foundation then leads up to period 9. So it's really this whole period.
It has all started, okay, and of course, those of you who follow our sharings and all that, since 2018, we've been talking about the reset is going to happen. Okay, and then of course, as Kong Yu has mentioned it, 2020, that's when the Great Conjunction happens. Planetary-wise, okay, the heavens is resetting itself, okay, by in December 2020. And everything now on Earth, now it's impacting Earth. So you see from now onwards up to 2024, a major reset is going to happen. And that's when people comes up with the terms of the new normal. Okay, all this new norm, new things that's exactly happening now, massively, rapidly.
That's right. And then of course the anchor this year is the Grand Centurion Portal.
Yeah.
That's right. So then all these indications, there's so many indications from different aspects of Chinese metaphysics, different aspects of metaphysics as a whole, Western astrology and everything. So putting all this basket together, just like major transitions, especially something that really you and I both and everyone is living through only once in our current lifetime, right? It occurs over a number of periods as well, because it's such a major transition. So there's no real one cut off date per se, so it's like a phase.
Yeah, it's a transition of the energy. It's like energy slowly, in a way, like merge in, to blend in, okay, together with the environment and all that. We won't have a specific like, oh, this is the cut out date. We won't be having that, but we will gradually feel its change.
Yes.
Right.
Sal says, want to ask, Malaysia is opening borders 1st April.
Yep.
How the COVID cases will be? Will the pandemic go away soon?
Now, this one I think I have shared during my annual astrology talk, okay? The pandemic, I mean, it's not a good news, okay, to say, but the pandemic will not go away soon, okay? As I mentioned, even like since 2020, when the whole pandemic has started, right? It is seen that it's like the pandemic is not the first time that it's happening, it was not the last time. We need to live together with the pandemic. Now, one thing I'm very glad, I mean, this is my personal view, okay? That somehow that we are entering into the phase of the endemics, all right?
Correct, and we need to live with COVID.
Yeah, we have to live with it. We have to live with it just like dengue. We have to live with it just like AIDS. It's still ongoing, and it takes away a lot of lives. We have to live with it just like any other flu symptoms, okay? Or any other flu viruses that is out there, okay? There have been a lot of like, in a way, like flu viruses and other things that is in a way existing way before this. And COVID is just one of them. And we have to learn to cope and live with it. And one thing is that in terms of astrology, we have to, in a way, believe that everything in the nature, we are, in a way, we are survivors. We are constantly, in a way, coping, right? That's why if you see, I mean, if you come over to see, like if you live in the forest or in the jungle, or for this case, it's in the island, right? Even the species of like insects or animals, they are so different comparatively to those in the city. Right, take a look at the lizards or the bugs, okay, or even the ants, right? If you see like city ants and also the same type of like lizard or ants in the jungle, it is different. Okay, why? Because every living beings, okay, are naturally, in a way, inborn within us the ability to adapt to situations, to the environment. That's our nature. So the human part of things, okay, somehow will naturally know how to adapt to the heavens and the earth part. Now the issue with, okay, the problem with human is we are privileged to have this, in a way, the brain or the mind that has an ability to store memories and also stores emotions. That leads to a lot of fear. When this fear of the past and beliefs that is in a way, okay, incorporated into a human beings, okay, that is when it in a way, I would say, paralyzes us from adapting. It paralyzes us from making changes. So if you look at the rest of the animals or the insects, right, where they don't have the mind to do this part, they have no issue adapting. Right, so if you're in a city or an environment of the city, it will adapt, and the size of the body and everything will just becomes like a city cockroach or a city lizard. But if you come to the forest, okay, they will adapt accordingly. They are bigger in size, okay, much bigger, trust me. Okay, so that's how it's like, and all human beings, you see, we have that ability. But the thing is, I would just say that do not let the fear cripple any one of us. The flu is everywhere. All right, right, yes. I mean, if you're talking about the Delta variant, which is a very, very initial, okay, stage of COVID, where you see a lot of death happening, yes, it is something to be concerned about. We have to take extra careful, okay, or in a way, precautions. But I mean, many of you has known that we have been confined at home, okay? The whole family has been confined at home. We were tested positive for COVID. And for me, I know symptoms varies from different people, okay? Right, the most difficult thing is that we had almost like fever for a day.
A day and a half.
Yeah, a day and a half, and then easily cope with just Panadols, okay, or decogens for my case, all right? And then the next thing is you're fine,
Yeah.
okay? You're totally fine.
I actually had a very much worse period of sickness when I had tonsillitis.
Exactly, okay? So
That was
we
like
were
the
just-
worst, like fever type of discomfort feeling I've ever had in my entire life. And it was actually from tonsillitis many years ago.
And I'm sure it will take more than just like a day or a day
Yeah,
and a half.
I was down for like 3-4 days.
Yeah, and
literally.
I definitely had like worse flu
Yeah.
before in my entire life. Where, to be very honest, it's like when I coughed or when I in a way extract the phlegms which is inside, I still remember, I'm not sure any of you has experienced this type of viral flu before, that when you extract the phlegm actually looks greenish,
Yes,
dark
dark.
green.
And
It's
it takes
so
like
yucks,
it
okay?
takes about 2 weeks to really clear.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
and it really takes a long time. You are down with fever, body ache, okay, and you have swollen eyes, and then the phlegms are just so yucky. Right, that is much more worse than COVID.
Yeah.
Okay, we had COVID, we were tested positive, right, and then of course fever for a day and a half, and then
after
it's
that,
fine.
it starts to get better and better and
Yeah.
better.
All right. I would just say one thing. Don't let the news or the medias, okay, or whatever it is, okay, to get too much into us. It is good for us to be aware of it. It is good for us to be careful of it. Okay, especially those of us with some like health issues, histories, or whatever, or we are a certain age. Example, okay, but should we let it in a way bog down our life, okay, just because of this? I seriously don't think that should be the focus. It's just like what we have shared recently in my wealth code, okay? Our focus is very important, all right?
Okay, Diana Choi had a question. He had a lot of technical details, but it's cut off. Unfortunately, we can only see so much from the handphone screen, so we're unable to answer Diana Choi's question. Okay, but Nariza, right? Nariza Castillo has this question. Hi Jessie, we bought a lot facing south, but there is a creek not close but visible from the property. What can we do?
A creek as in like,
Can
it's like
a river.
river, right?
So I think she's saying basically the river's position in the south.
Oh.
Because the property is facing south.
But she said a creek not close but visible from
Yes.
the property. I mean, firstly, it's not necessarily at the south, okay? Now, you see, having a creek near a property is not really a bad thing, all right? So it's like, but as long as it's not too near, like directly next to your property, okay, that might not be a very ideal.
I think a concern is probably period 9, right? So sitting
Because
north,
of the direct and
face-
indirect spirits.
spirit,
Don't be too concerned. I think the priority of like seeking for property in period 9 will be firstly, not only in period 9, in every period when it comes to feng shui, firstly make sure that you have in a way mountains or water, means that rivers, creek, or any highland or raised mountain or hills, okay, around the vicinity. That is the first priority in any property selection, because you see, only when you see natural water and high rise land, okay, or hills or mountain, then only you can in a way be sure that surrounding has energy, all right, the presence of the energy, okay, around the area. And then secondarily, it can then only you will hope that all this positioning of the mountain and water is in or conforming to the direct or indirect spirit. Means a certain location to see mountain and a certain locations to see water. But if let's say if you can't really conform, right, I would say that don't be too stressed up about it, right? Because you see, right, when we buy a property, our life itself, okay, it's like my first property was bought when I was 19, right? So the thing is, when we buy properties along, when we progress in life, we upgrade, okay, we make changes. Now the thing is, when direct and indirect spirits is out of alignment, the maximum impact, the worst, come to worst impact is it might actually affect in terms of relationship. Example, okay? So the thing is, as long as we're aware of that, okay, and as long as like the people who are staying in that particular property are aware and put in the efforts to use human luck or man luck to, in a way, work out on the relationship, on all communications issues and all that, then I would say that it is still in a way acceptable and can be worked out on. Okay, so to me, if you ask me, if you really bought the property, don't be in a way too bogged down by it. Don't be stressed out by it. Okay, don't just because now you heard a bit about feng shui, you know a bit about feng shui, and then now it becomes a stress to you. You see, our energy or our emotions needs to be focusing on something that grows us as a person, to make us better, to thrive on any situations, right? So the thing is, you already bought the property, okay? Even though if the directions of the creek might not be the most ideal, then you should set yourself short-term goal. When is the shortest term that you can in a way maximize your potential in this property, because at least you know that you have a river somewhere, and river or water represents wealth. So you know that somehow in general the property itself will be good for wealth, alright? So work towards that for a short-term goal, and then in a way probably 3 years down the road, 5 years down the road, move to a better property. Right?
Okay, so Carmen Chan has this, right? Hi Jessie and Tong Yu, how will Ren Yin Tiger affect the person undergoing 10-year luck of Wu Zi? And the Wu is 7 killings, the Kui and the Zi is what wealth. That means she or the chart in question is a Ren water chart, right? How will Ren Yin affect Wu Zi? Affect the Ren water person?
Now I would just say that first of all, okay, for this question itself, I disregard whether you're strong water
Strong or weak,
weak
yeah,
water.
exactly.
Okay? Overall, okay, if you're going through 7 killings luck, okay, so now in regardless whether you like it or not, now see, whether we want to see whether you favor certain element or not, it's just that we want an easier learning platform. Means that if we learn the things that we favor most first in our chart, it makes the learning lessons easier, much more comfortable to learn and grow. But let's say if the unfavorable element comes into our chart, okay, we still learn, we still grow, but the thing is, it might not be the most comfortable learning experience, right? So now disregard whether it is favorable or non-favorable first. As long as you're going through 7 killings, now you need to understand what does 7 killings mean. 7 killing means aggressiveness. 7 killings and drop down means competitiveness, aggressive, competitive, seize opportunities, seize the moment, pick up any possible chances that you can see, okay, in your life itself, okay, be aggressive, compete, don't in a way procrastinate, because these tools are what we call aggressive element, right? So it is not a 10 years luck pillar where you can just sit around and wait for things to happen. It is definitely not a 10 years luck pillar where you wait and live your life in reaction. It is a 10 years where you have to take actions, and 7 killings is about resolving problems, okay? It's about like coming up with strategies, it's coming up with ideas, resolving issues. So you just have to ask yourself, what are the things that you think, okay, you need to resolve in your life in terms of health, in terms of like wealth, in terms of relationship? Who are these people? And how can you resolve it? How can you make it better? Okay, so at least there's 7 killings. And 7 killings also means it's like, in a way, recognition. Okay, it's a type of charisma. Right? So in terms of your career, in terms of your business or whatever that you're doing, alright, how can you heighten this recognition? How can you brand yourself? How can you market yourself? How can you in a way set a better market value for yourself? Whether or not you're in career or in business.
Right.
So that's how you can maximize the potential. And then drop down, of course, you can leverage on other people. Right? Who are the people? Who are your competitors? Who are the people in whatever that you're doing? If you're a salesperson, who are the better salesperson out there? What can you learn from them? How can you maximize this potential by looking into their progress and into how they manage, okay, to be at their position? keep awareness there. They keep on learning, okay, from the people around us, from the people who are best into what they are doing. If it's similar to what we are working on, okay. So
Yep.
by looking at this, it's like, that's the best way for us to maximize that 10 years luck pillar potential.
Yeah, especially this year. Good question, right? So Ren Yin comes in. It's going to give you the additional Ren is of course yourself, right, or the friend element, and the Yin is going to give you the additional energy of actually being able to use your energy in
Your
a way
output.
that your output, right? So in an intelligent way, creating something, coming up with a solution, your skills of communication and expression, showing people what you know, what you have, and what you're made of, your intelligence is the energy that's carried in the yin or the tiger. Yin God energy comes in, right? So it's a good time to also
To explore, to be
explore,
curious,
exactly.
to try everything,
to try
be
everything.
adventurous.
And in this year, with the advantage of being able to show people what you know and what you can do.
yeah,
Like the intelligence element is
yeah,
also up.
flaunt it, 7 killings, flaunt it.
Right.
Right.
Okay. This one is the last question. It's a very general one.
Okay.
Rosa, right, from Philippines. Rooster sign. Is it good to construct a new house this year?
I mean, to be very honest, Rosa, I would say is that whatever the animal sign that
Yeah.
you're in, every year, if you feel like it, if you want to build a new house, if you want to construct a new house or renovate a house, why not? Do it, right? Just that in a way that we just have to be, in a way, if you know astrology, you know feng shui, then probably we know that, are there any possibilities that somehow are things that we have to pay attention to? Example, if someone is going through a rob wealth year, example, okay, right, if they want to renovate their house, why not? But just bear in mind that if you are going through a rob wealth years, there are chances of some unforeseen sort of like expenses, all right? So you better be very careful whenever that you're getting quotations from your contractor and all that, because, and also in a way try to allocate an extra money itself, okay, just in case, okay, anything pops up along the way that is not within your budget. All right, so because rob wealth is all about like, people in a way taking our wealth away from us, and so chances of like, we have to spend like, in a way, like unprepared spending will be higher. So I would say that if you ask me about like, can we construct a house and all that, it's like, seriously, every year we can, all right? So if you have the money, you have the property, why not? It's a good thing, okay? Because it's a part of upgrading ourselves. But the thing is, then we look into details of the years, and that's when party consultations comes about, okay? We want to go into the detail for that particular year itself. What are the things I need to watch out for if I want to construct my house, okay? Should there be any unforeseen circumstances that I need to be aware of, okay? Right? This is the part that normally we want to like, in a way, like look more deeper into it rather than just asking whether, can I just reno a house, okay? Because I personally don't advise, okay, clients or students to, in a way, be too paranoid about using Chinese astrology, right? If you have the money, you have the luxury to do so, why not? Just do it.
That's right. I know Diana Choi have a couple of questions, very detailed ones about your property, right? So unfortunately, like I was saying, in our camera setup, we can't see your full question. So sorry we are unable to attend to those per se, right? Sal, I think a couple of comments, and then I think we could probably wrap up as well.
Yeah.
Right, Sal says, thanks, Jessie. I still have phlegm on evenings which need to cough out. For 2 months.
For 2 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And took some mucosolvent
Mucosolvents,
and
yeah.
allergy pills.
Yeah,
But
okay,
sometimes-
and I do still, even though like in a way tested negative again and again, but I do still have that phlegm. They just let it clear out, okay? Right?
Whereas I actually, don't have much of that.
Yeah.
Those I cough and flu symptoms as much as Jessie. So it's very different, right? Who he says
Of
right.
course, your method is so much more stronger compared to mine. Okay, I read better in my chart.
Who he says right mindset, we're mentally strong, will not fear for any challenges, including life with COVID.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly,
Hui.
Hui.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
So I guess that's about it.
That's about it.
Okay, let's not take each other's time
Correct.
so much. I have a book here to
Yes.
complete.
Thank you
that
so
I still want
much.
to enjoy. Okay.
Yep.
The session over here. Thank you so much, for being with us.
That's
okay,
right.
Even though it's very impromptu.
Yes.
And really appreciate all your questions. Hope that we can we manage to answer some of them. I think we should end the session with them looking out.
We will.
Yeah, we'll
Right.
just give like probably a few minutes them listening to the sound of the wave while we are also in a way tuning into the sound of the wave.
Okay, let's do that.
Right.
Chomeyo says, love the sharing, so relaxing. sing. Thanks for
Thank
joining.
you so much.
That's
all
right.
right. Okay, poaching is there as well. Okay, wow, the
Talking
sound
about the
of
sound
waves.
of sea, so we'll flip it around.
Yeah, we're flipping around the camera. Okay, so you can in a way submerge yourself into this sound of the wave as well. We will stop talking and then probably after 5 minutes we'll just stop this. Alright, so enjoy your
Yep.
day. All the best to you.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stay safe and don't forget to admire the nature and be grateful of life.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye bye.